Thank you for watching the Student Athlete Playbook segment of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. I am Barry Brown, author of the Student Athlete Playbook, the Amazon bestseller, Success in the Classroom, Life, and Sports. Now today we have a special guest in the building. We go way back. I'm talking about several years. I think we're going on like 5 or something like that.
Probably.
But this is Coach Brandon Banks of the AAU program, the Georgia Canes, and the Langston Hughes Junior Panthers. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing well, Barry. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show, man. I'm a big fan. I've been watching online like many other watchers and viewers. So, man, just happy to be a part of this show today.
Yes, excellent. So listen, while you're watching this segment, while you're watching the Student Athlete Playbook segment with 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk, if you like what we're talking about, like the page, comment on the page, and definitely share the page with other parents, student athletes, and people that work with youth. Because we're here to give you the best information, the best guests, and hey, and have a good time talking about student athletes. Well, hey, Coach, let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Man, I'm just amazed at what I've heard coming down the pipeline with the Georgia Canes, what I've actually seen with my own eyes as far as social media, online in general, and real life over at Langston Hughes High School. You have these phenomenal student athletes that play the game of basketball. And let's start with the Langston Hughes Junior Panthers.
Okay.
I've heard that these young men have won a championship. Now, everybody out here, if you did not know, Langston Hughes High School has won back-to-back state titles in men's boys basketball. But there's a reason why they're winning all these games and winning the big games, and there's more championship basketball to come. And Coach Banks and his team of coaches and players is the reason why they're still going to win a lot of games over there with Coach Roy Welch. Coach, tell us about these Langston Hughes Junior Panthers.
First of all, I want to shout out to Coach Welch and his staff. Thank them for the opportunity to put this feeder program in place. We actually play in the Cobb County Junior Basketball Conference. So that conference has been in place since the 70s. It started as a feeder program for all the Cobb County schools. So when you think about the Wheeler High Schools, you think about Pebble Brooks and those schools that have been basketball powerhouses for years in Atlanta. It's because they have a feeder program in place. Not too long ago, the Cobb County Junior Basketball Conference expanded its reach. It represents about 41 different schools right now. So we are the only school in South Fulton that has a feeder program that plays in that league. So we've been really blessed with Coach Welch giving his blessing for this program, and it really highlights the student athletes in South Fulton, the talent that they have, and it gives them a greater platform to put that talent on display.
Wow. Now, this team was beating junior varsity 9th grade basketball programs, and these young men were only in the 8th grade. This team I'm particularly talking about. So this is a middle school team, correct? 8th graders?
They were 8th graders. They're rising 9th graders. They're all entering high school this coming fall in a couple of weeks. We did have the privilege of playing against some high school teams that allowed us to come over. We scrimmaged the junior varsity over at Langston. That was the only close game that we had. We played against some other high schools. I'll leave their names out because I love their coaches.
That's right.
But we were able to play at a high level. I had 2 or 3 of the top 8th graders in the state of Georgia playing on the team. They all live in the same neighborhood.
Wow.
Went to the same middle school. So I'm looking for them to be doing some big things. We had Bruce Thornton, who's actually going to Milton this coming fall. He's a 2-sport athlete that'll play football and basketball. Kobe Davis, who I believe, if given opportunity, he may actually start at point guard for Langston Hughes varsity this coming year.
Wow.
So for those people who were saddened by Landis Nolly's graduation going to Virginia Tech, I assure you there's a whole new crop of talent that's going to enter Langston Hughes and be really good this coming fall and winter. So please go check them out and support those young men in their efforts. In addition to the 8th grade boys basketball program, we had a 7th grade boys basketball program that was really good. They made it to the Elite 8 of the Cobb County Junior Basketball Conference, 7th grade. our 8th grade girls also made it to the Elite Eight. We had 4 teams this past year, and we're hoping to field 6 total teams this coming school year. So we'll have 6th grade boys, 6th grade girls, 7th grade boys, 7th grade girls, 8th grade boys, 8th grade girls as well. So we're really, really excited about giving these young people in South Fulton the opportunity to continue to showcase their skill set on the basketball floor, but also to continue to thrive and become more wholehearted as students and well-rounded and preparing for high school and beyond.
Wow. Now, this is what I love about it, and you know about this, Coach Banks. The South Fulton area is rich with a lot of talent. You're talking about the Cam Newtons of the world. You're talking about the Eric Berrys of the world. These are the kind of student athletes that are coming out of the South Fulton area that are still playing at a high level in professional sports. And it all started right there in South Fulton. Now,
we're rich with talent. I mean, you got Chuma Kogi, who's over at Auburn playing basketball right now.
That's right.
It's just Jamie Lewis, who's going up to Wake Forest, and he's going to be playing this coming year. So, I mean, we got a lot of talent between Westlake and Langston Hughes. The area is loaded with student athletes who are performing not only well in their respective sports, but also well in the classroom. So we're excited about that.
And you know we all about that. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about doing this show with you today is the fact that, you know, we do the annual South Fulton Scholarship Student Athlete Luncheon every year. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of these young men and the young ladies come up in high school, and that they become seniors and they sign their scholarships, that we'll be hosting them at our luncheon. We're getting ready for the 5th year here in 2019. So, man, I'm just excited. And shout out to Miss Lydia Glaze. She is the founder and my cohort in the South Fulton Student Athlete Luncheon that we do every year. So definitely have to shout out Miss Lydia Glaze for that. So now let's switch over to the Georgia Canes.
Pride and joy, the baby, the rebirth of independent basketball. We're a 5th year organization. This is our 5th year coming up. We just completed our 4th year. Excited about that. We actually started with the younger age groups, the classes of 2022 and 2023. This year, 2022, we kind of let them kind of reacclimate themselves this summer and get ready for high school. 2023 was up and going. And we also started a 17 and under team. So we took a lot of kids who were flying under the radar, if you will. We played in on the radar hoops events to help put them on the radar. So we've got about 6 or 7 17 and under kids who are D1 prospects or D2 prospects. Excellent. So we're really excited about that because they were actually flying under the radar. So it's been a good summer. It's a long summer, but it's been a good summer.
Right. So now the Georgia Canes, how many teams do you have with your Georgia Canes program?
The Georgia Canes team had 2023, 2022, and then we had the 2019 team this past year. Next year, we're looking at expansion. Our program is a little bit different than a lot of other programs, and I know all AAU programs say that, but what I mean by that is all of our coaches get a stipend. So we pay our coaches a stipend. And most of them will have either high school, collegiate coaching experience or beyond to kind of help our student athletes prepare for what that looks like when they get ready to move to the next level. So we bring in a lot of the top trainers. Shout out to Robert Swain, Nick Stapleton, who's Colin Sexton's trainer. Robert Swain trained Josh Okogie, who just got drafted number 20 from Georgia Tech. Colin was number 8. So Georgia's rich in basketball. I know it's football country. But it's rich in basketball as well. And, you know, we bring some of these top trainers in not only to help them develop our kids on the court, but they develop them off the court as well. So it's been a real blessing to be able to impact these young men and their families with the opportunity that we provide with our program.
Man, that's awesome, man. So you're talking about the Langston Hughes Junior Panthers, a championship squad that was 13. What, those 13-year-olds? What age group was that?
The
team that won the championship. So
that's 14-year-olds, 8th graders that just finished middle school. We had opportunity to go 27-0, 27 up. 27 up, 27 down. I knew from the very first day of practice that we had something special. And I told a couple of people, I said, hey, We got an opportunity to do something really unique with this program on the second year. And everybody in our program took notice, and the league took notice.
I know they did.
So the president of the league came out because they had to see it for themselves. We averaged 88 points a game.
Hold on, time. Did you just say 88 points a game? For some middle school basketball players?
Middle school basketball. We averaged 88 points a game.
Unbelievable, bro.
Average winning streak was about 44 points.
Whoa. Yo, beating people by 44 points?
44, 50.
Unbelievable.
So the first couple of games, I mean, we came out blazing because we wanted to make a statement and put people on notice. And the kids really took heed to that and really got involved with that, and they took pride in it. So I'm excited about these young men. I can't wait to see what they do in high school and really start getting some recognition that they may not have seen before, especially in the South Fulton Middle School League. It just isn't that type of notoriety as it is with this Cobb County League.
Wow. So now, as we get ready to end the segment, we're heading to the conclusion of the segment. The Georgia Canes, but before we talk about the Georgia Canes to finish up some more, I want to talk about your book and talk about student athletes for a second. Because we have a lot of student athletes playing different sports around this country, the United States of America. And you have written a book, Bigger Than Ballin, by Coach Brandon Banks. Now, you know what we do with the Student Athlete Achievement Program, Amazon bestseller, the Student Athlete Playbook. But you're talking about parents. Parents, how are you positioning your kids? Can you tell us more about your book, Coach Banks?
Absolutely. My book is a different approach. Typically when people write books, they're writing it to the athlete. They're writing it to the student athlete. And they're talking about ways in which they can intrinsically self-motivate themselves. One of the things that I've experienced over time is the fact that my parents don't always know, or they may not have experienced what it takes in order to position their child to be successful.
True.
They may have been a great athlete, but what do I do now that I'm in an advisory role? So I wrote a book specifically talking to parents about how to position a student athlete, because you've got to be able to maintain both. You have to balance both of them, and you have to make sure that they understand that you've got to be successful in the classroom as well as on the playing field or in the gym or whatever your sport may be. You've got to be able to balance both of them. So there's a lot of great information in here that kind of gives people an overview of what it's going to take from a training perspective, from an academic perspective. People who are familiar with vision boards, I have a whole chapter in here that dispels my belief about the vision board, and I talk about the focus board. Shout out to HOTEP.
That's right, HOTEP, Hustle University, Makeaway Education Program, where we met, matter of fact.
Where we met, and it kind of helped me understand this is where you got to focus your intention so these kids can learn how to develop plans that are going to take them well beyond sports into life.
I love it.
And how to best position that.
Man, I love it, Coach. I love it. So now, speaking of the Georgia Canes, your son actually plays for one of your teams with the Georgia Canes. Can we bring him up right now, Coach?
Absolutely, man. I want to make sure he gets the opportunity to get in front of the camera and kind of introduce himself. And feel free, Barry, to ask away and help him how you need to.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, how you doing, and welcome to the show.
I'm doing good, Barry.
Thank you. Well, tell everybody your name.
My name is Amir Banks.
And what school do you go to?
Renaissance Middle School.
Awesome. And what's your sport and position?
My sport is basketball, and I play guard.
Excellent. So now we're talking about student athletes. What does it mean to be a student athlete for you? What does student athlete mean for you?
Well, being a student athlete, student comes first. An athlete, you can't be an athlete without being a student first.
Excellent. I love it. Well, I think we have some other special guests in the house, Coach. Who else do we have in the building?
We got my middle son, Nasir Banks, and my youngest, the last in charge, the last of the trifecta, Kadir Banks. And I wanted to bring them along because I understand that exposure is absolutely important. Like, you have to expose your kids to what you want them to be when they get older. So when I got invited onto the show, man, I wanted to make sure I brought my boys because they're not always present when I'm out here working on things together. And I wanted to make sure that they could see what we're doing out here and how we're doing it. So I just appreciate the opportunity, Barry. Thank you for letting me expose them to this.
Oh, yeah, excellent, man. No, it's nothing like exposure. Parents, coaches, teachers, athletic directors, superintendents. Listen, we are the Student Athlete Achievement Program. You see we have Coach Banks here in the building, the Langston Hughes Junior Panthers, and the Georgia Canes doing outstanding things with our young people. And we are here to basically serve our community and to serve everybody that we can, to everybody that we can touch. You see these young men here. These are living examples of what the next generation is going to be, and we're here to support them every single way. Now, Coach, before we close out, where can they get your book?
My book is available on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and just type in Bigger Than Ballin. Or if you want to be able to reach me directly on social media, for those who may be local in the Metro Atlanta or Georgia area, I typically have copies on me. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Brandon C. Banks. Or you can just look for me on Facebook at Brandon C. Banks as well, and you'll find me. I won't be hard to find. I'll be happy to interact with you, and if there are individuals out there who want to have me come out and speak to their groups, feel free to contact me about that. I've done quite a few speaking engagements since I wrote the book. And the most interesting part is it's not only been about just athletes. I've had an opportunity to speak to travel agents and use some of the concepts in the book, because when we talk about Bigger Than Ballin', it's definitely about expanding that past the athletic fields and into life. So some of these same concepts that are applicable to these student athletes will be applicable to you and your corporate area, and how they can help you kind of grow your business as well.
That's right. Well, Coach, let me say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for bringing these young men. Outstanding. Listen, if you've liked everything that you've heard today, if you have any questions for Coach Banks, for myself, Barry Brown, please like the page first, comment on the page, and share the page with everyone that wants to help student athletes improve. This is the Student Athlete Playbook with 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. Say bye, fellas, to everybody.
All right now.